This is a 1990 420 SEL Mercedes Benz. This is the same model. I think it goes from 1984 to all the way to maybe 91, 92. It's the same thing. So there it is, 420 SEL. Once again, this is the 126 body style. Once again, made in Germany, Stuttgart, 390. Here is the lever for the hood. And here is the master cylinder. You see we have fluid in here. I have a little breaker bar. This is 11/16. Just makes it easier. Okay, now I'll just go around and do the other side. I'm going to stick the floor jack right underneath the frame. Now make sure this is not the frame. That's your oil pan. He'll go right through it. You got to get the cross beam. Now with it lifted up off the ground, you only need high enough for clearance. That's it. So there's one. Now let's go do the other side. With both jack stands in place, I'll do is slowly let it down. There it is. One side and the other side. Now before I take this jack 100% off, I'm going to give it a little shake. Make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Give it a little shake, that way if it's going to fall, it's going to fall on the jack. It's not going anywhere. So now it's safe to work on. So I broke all these screws to make it easier. Now, just spin right off. See, they have these deep set lug nuts, cloud threads, and this, where it cones over, that's where it catches into the wheel. With the wheel turned, makes it easy to get access. So let's take off the sensor first. Plugs in here, and then it just pulls out from inside the pad. So what happens is, when the brakes get too bad, it wears the plastic off here and it makes contact, and then it puts the brake light on your dashboard. Alright, the next thing is it's got this metal clip here that holds the two pads in place. So you just have to take out, there's two pins. Okay, I just use a regular nail and just tap these out. There's one. There's the second one. And they hold this little piece of metal here. This comes right out. And you can see the brake pads are pretty wore out. So I just put a little screwdriver there, push the cylinder back just a touch. Okay, and then I can just yank these right out. See, they're getting pretty wore out, as you can see. Let's just spread that piston back just a little bit more. Just carefully do it. And here comes the other pad. So basically, if you're only replacing the pads, then normally I would just push this in and squeeze this until it makes enough room to slip the pads in. But I'm going to replace the rotor this time. So that's how you do the pads. And we'll put those back in. But they're fairly simple. Now to take the calipers off, there's two bolts, one bolt here, right here. So these are number 19. Let me take these off. Okay, there's one. Well, maybe not so easy. But looks like they're going to be hard all the way to the end. Okay, there's one. And there's number 2. So just lift the calipers off. Alright, so now we're going to take the rotor off. Let's see if this comes off easy. And that gets done. Okay, there's the cap. So let's take a look behind there. Alright, so we got ourselves an Allen wrench here to loosen this up. That. Here's the nut. And here's the bearing. Here's one of them. And there's the rotor. That's it. So now let me take the bearing out of here. So we'll just tap it right out. There's the rotor. Here's the bearing. And here's the seal that we just took out. So The last thing I want you to notice on these rotors, I don't know if you can see them, but they're really wore out on this side and also on the outside face, to the point where if you have these cut, they'll be way too thin here and they won't be safe. So this rotor is basically really no good, so we'll have to get a new one. Okay, this is the front rotor and hub. What I didn't show you here is that when you buy new rotors, you have to take it off the hub. So these, here comes 5, they're number 10 Allen screws, and you take these off, and this just pushes right out. This just lifts right up. You may have to pry it up a little bit here, but this whole thing comes out. Then you stick it back in here. As you can see, here's the back side of the bolts. I want to put some grease on these bearings. You notice that the surface is not 100%. I sanded it down a little bit. What I think what happened is the package got broken and a little water went in there, but no big deal, because now that I sanded it a little bit, the first time I hit those disc brakes, all that will disappear in a second. Okay, so here I am. I'm just stuffing grease in between the race here. It's going inside all the bearings. So you just keep on going around and around and around until it's fairly solid. Just drop it right in there. Now, since I got my hands dirty, let me do this one here too. So just continue to pack that in there until it doesn't move. Okay, we'll save that for later. Now we have the seal. It goes right on top there. We'll just tap that in. Go around nice and evenly. Doesn't require a lot of effort. Okay, so now you have the inner bearing in. So let's now install the rotor on the car. Alright, so what we have here, I just put it into position just to hold it so it doesn't dangle on the brake lines. But we'll just put that out of the way here. And here's the spindle. This area is where the inner bearing will run. There's a lot of extra grease on here. And this is where the outer bearing will run, right there. So I'll just put a little extra, that hurt. So, all you do is put it on. And you take the outer bearing, the small one that you put grease on also, and stick it in there. And Mercedes doesn't have a washer, a nut, and a cotter pin that goes in. They just have this, see, they just have this nut here with an Allen screw. So Just tighten that up. Okay, so what we'll do here, we'll tighten this up. Okay, everybody's got a different theory here, so I just tighten it up and I back it off. It's got a nice, feels real good. It's not loose. And then with the Allen wrench, and just tighten it up. Okay, so that's how that's done. Now, we just put the cap back on. There we go. That's installing the rotor on the spindle here. So I'll just hit this with a brake cleaner. Okay. Alright, now we'll get the caliper. And the next thing we want to do is squeeze these two pistons back. So nice and gently. Just goodness. We'll do the other one. See it just slowly collapsing. And what happens is the fluid is running back to the brake line. Take care of that. Now, there's two bolts. One will go here. I want to go here, so we'll put the caliper back on. Okay, two bolts in the position. Now let's tighten them up. There's one. Okay, that's the top one. And there's the bottom. Okay. Those are in position. Ready to go. Now let's put the brakes in. Here are the new ones. Here's the old ones. You see they're getting kind of wore out. There's not very much left. Also, on the fronts, they have the sensor. And the sensor goes right in there. It goes this way. So, it goes in that hole, just like that. So what that will do is, when the brake pad wears all the way out, the rotor will wear this out. It'll make contact, and once it makes contact, the light on your dashboard will go on. Okay, the next step, what I want to do, I'm going to put the pads in, and I just want to do a trial just to see if they make it. That one does no problem, and here's the other one, just slips right in here. Okay, so, okay, not everyone uses this stuff. It's called disc brake quiet. I use it. Just need some on the piston over here. And I will just put that right in. Just slips in really nice and easy. Okay, the second one. Okay, we'll just rub it around a little bit. And we'll slip that right in there. And there we go. So now we put this little spring clip, and here we have the pin. We'll put the top pin in. Just tap that all the way in. Okay, there we go. Now we just need one more thing, and here are the little sensors. What happens is when they wear out, it wears the plastic here, makes contact with the disc brake, and then you get a light on your dashboard. So it just goes in this little hole here, and inside the tab, push that right in, connect that right up. And then the next one, the hole is here, here's the pin, slide it right in, inside this brake pad, and there you go. So now it's all connected. And here's your bleeder. We didn't have to bleed any fluid because I just squeezed these back and all the fluid went back to the master cylinder. So all the brakes are on. You can see the disc brake spinning, and then when it step on a brake, it collapses that and stops the car. Alright, the final thing is to install the tire. I'll put one of the stud holes up on top. Just so it makes it a little easier for me. But before I even do that, what I normally do, not everybody does this, I don't care, because I change my tires and do all the stuff myself, so I always put just a little dab of oil on the threads. That way they always come off. So I'll go in start pattern and I'll just let it down and retighten it. Alright, there's the tire. When you finish with the brake job, put all the tires on, everything else, the best thing is come over here and check the master cylinder. See, here's minimum, here's maximum. We're in the center, so I'm going to just leave it right there. So what happens is, as the brakes wear out, the fluid level goes down because the pistons extend and need more fluid in the pistons. But then when you replace them and squeeze the pistons back in, your level will come up. I have it here. Some people have it here, as long as it's between minimum and maximum. If you don't know what type of fluid to put into the system here, you can always look at the cap. And let's see if you can see this. Well, it says right here, .4. So this particular car uses .4 fluid. So we just tap it up, and away we go. Okay, so now that we've finished the brakes, start the car up and come over here and pump the pedal, and you'll see that the pedal went down quite a bit, but as you pump it, it comes right back up to life. So now you're ready to go.